Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah, amma ba'd, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. So, guys, there was four things I felt like were really important to address, especially in this day and age. Number one is the issue of wasting money. Alhamdulillah, we live in a day and age where wealth is actually quite abundant. Even those of us who think that, we don't have much money, trust me, some of the kings didn't even have. Some of the most, illustrious kings of our history didn't even have some of the basic necessities that you have. For example, flowing water through your pipes at home. So we live in a day and age where, alhamdulillah, we live in abundance. We're really living in prosperity. And we waste a lot of our wealth, our food, our resources. So I feel like it's important for people to know the principles of when you're wasting money and when you're not wasting money, and are you allowed to spend money on things that are permissible? Is there a limit? Of course you're allowed to spend money on things that are permissible, but is there a limit with regards to how much you can indulge? All of these kind of things. The second thing I think is important to learn in this day and age is the rights of the parents, but not necessarily just the rights of the parents. We all know parents are important, and Allah mentioned them after He mentioned Himself, after He mentioned worshipping Allah alone. He mentioned the rights of the parents. We all know this, but what we don't know is how to navigate the responsibilities of the parents from a fiqh-based perspective. For example, if your parents tell you to do something haram, what do you do? If your parents tell you to do something that is sunnah, what do you do? If your parents tell you to leave off a sunnah, what do you do? For example, you want to go and pray Salah al-Jama'ah in the masjid, and your parents tell you you're not allowed to do this, what do you do? Your parents tell you to go seek knowledge, you're not allowed to go seek knowledge. What do you do in this situation? Your parents force you to get married, your parents force you to get divorced. Is every situation the same when they tell you to get a divorce? Do you have to listen to them every time? What if your husband tells you to do something, my sisters, and your father tells you to do something? Who do you listen to? What if your wife tells you something and your mother tells you to do something? What do you do, my brothers? This is a situation where people don't know how to navigate it. We all know that parents, Allah Barik, have a huge right, but then how do we navigate the responsibilities and the rights that we have to our parents? Okay, we know if they tell us to leave off something that's permissible because they want us to leave it off, we have to obey them. And if they tell us to leave off something that is what? That is obligatory for them to tell you not to pray, we're not allowed to obey them. But then what about the things that are sunnah? And is it same in every single situation? Do we obey them in every time they tell us not to do sunnah acts? There's a lot to this. The third thing that I think is important to study in this day and age is seeking forgiveness. The importance of seeking forgiveness. Imam Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah ta'ala said our life revolves around three stages. Number one, difficulties for which we need patience, blessings for which we need gratitude, and number three, forgiveness, seeking forgiveness for when we sin. That's our life. Blessings, difficulties, and sins. When the blessing comes, be thankful. When the difficulty comes, be patient. And when you sin, when you make a mistake, as is unfortunately the nature of the human being, our job is to then ask for forgiveness. How do we ask for forgiveness? What are the secrets of asking for forgiveness? I actually wanted to go a bit deeper. I didn't want to just talk about seeking forgiveness for sins. I want to talk about the secrets behind seeking forgiveness. For example, seeking forgiveness is very deep, wallahi, and there are stages to seeking forgiveness. Have you ever asked yourself, why do you seek forgiveness at the end of your salah? Why is it when you say assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, we say astaghfirullah? We seek forgiveness from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We do the istighfar. Why? Did we just do a sin in our salah? What is the reason? There are stages to seeking forgiveness that will actually blow your mind. It's not just for when you do a sin. There's greater levels to this. And I think it's a way to get close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I think it's a thing that we really need to study in this day and age. The fourth and final thing that I think is important that we need to learn, and this is not just for the sisters, it's even though it's a topic for sisters, but it's a topic for men, because men have wives and men have daughters, or they will one day have wives and daughters. It's the issue of Tabarroch. Tabarruj is basically showing your beauty in times and places when you're not allowed to. So is it wrong for women to show their beauty? Not in each and every single situation. At home with our husband, there's no problem, okay? But what about when you're outside? What about when you're with non-mahrams? Do you treat all mahrams the exact same way? The way you dress in front of your husband, is it the same way you dress in front of your brother and your father? There's a lot to this, okay? Especially in a day and age when it's so confusing, Is the niqab obligatory? Is the jilbab obligatory? What about the abaya? What about wearing modest clothing, for example maxi dresses with a hijab and long sleeve tops? What is hijab? There's so much to it, okay? And I think it's an important topic for us to discuss, inshallah ta'ala. And the reason I mention this is to kind of basically lead to my concluding point. So there are 4 books that I found, very short books, that deal with each and every single one of these topics in a very succinct and powerful way. There's a book on the issue of israf, which is going overboard and being wasteful. And there's a book we have on the issue of Tabarroch by Ibn Baz rahimahullah ta'ala. Very small book. It would take maybe about 2.5 hours to finish. We have a book on the issue of parents by Imam As-Subki rahimahullah ta'ala. Again, a very short book. And we have the book on the issue of istighfar. Again, a very short book by Imam Jamaluddin Al-Qasimi rahimahullah ta'ala. And these books, inshallah ta'ala, I'm actually going to be teaching them over my weekend circle. I have a weekend circle, and you guys maybe have heard me talk about it before and mention it in previous videos in the beginning of some Nasir sessions. I have a small group of students that I go through with every weekend. We go through a different topic. Not a different topic every weekend, sorry, but we go through different books, and sometimes they take a few weeks or whatever have you. But now I've kind of committed to trying to keep it restricted to books that I can finish in maybe maximum of four lessons, so that would be just 2 weekends. This month, inshallah ta'ala, in the month of January, from the 9th to the 31st of Jan, and I'm talking about the weekends only within these dates, I'm planning to, inshallah ta'ala, go through 4 books. I'm going to go through this book on the issue of Tabarroch, the book on the issue of parents, the book on the issue of seeking forgiveness, and the book on the issue of wasting money. And I would love for you guys to join me. I mean, you guys are on lockdown, especially those who are in the UK, you're on lockdown just like myself. And I decided to research these topics a little bit more and find some classical texts for each and every single one of these topics from the scholars that I've just mentioned prior. Because I had a bit more time, alhamdulillah, as we all do. So I'd like it, inshallah ta'ala, if you could join me. Click the link below if you want more information, inshallah ta'ala. We start 9 p.m. UK time. Lesson goes for about an hour. Sometimes maybe it can go up to an hour and a half, but about an hour, give or take 5 minutes approximately. That's what it is. Saturday, Sunday, we have a great community. The students really know each other. I know the students. I've gotten to know them. Some of them I've been teaching them for months now, for almost, I think, 7-8 months now, alhamdulillah. And you get to know them, and it's a close kind of community that we have, alhamdulillah. In fact, if you look at the comments, you'll probably see the students talking, and you can maybe ask them if you think that what their view is on the class and if it's beneficial or whatever have you. So inshallah, check it out. We have had, alhamdulillah, a few more spaces that have opened up, so we'd love to have you on board. With that said, peace. Assalamu alaikum.